Welcome to Ground Up Growth, where we share entrepreneurial insights, business strategies, and personal growth lessons to help listeners build success from the ground up.
Welcome back to Ground Up Growth. Today we are on episode 12. I've got my friend Jason Ramsey here. Jason Ramsey owns Ramsey Land and Drainage Services here in Madison County. Jason, thank you for coming on.
Paul, thank you, man. You've been talking to me about this for a while. Appreciate it.
Been trying to get you in here.
I know, man. I know. Glad
I'm
to
excited.
Be here.
You got a heck of a story. So
yeah,
we're going to dive in and unpack it. So you live right here close to me.
Yeah, live over here by Lake Lorman. Yep, right around the corner, so I can ride my buggy over here and bother you if I need to. Check on your fires and stuff. Make sure you're good.
My fires.
That's right.
All right, how old are you?
I am about to be 48 next
As
week.
Next week?
Yeah, next week, next
48.
Monday. Yeah, usually it's on Father's Day or right after Father's Day. And actually thinking about this podcast, you asked me to do this. I was like, golly, I didn't realize how old I am. Because I'm about to unpack about 30 years worth of stuff. So we're going to pile it in about 45 minutes to an hour, I guess.
It's going to be good. Speaking of Father's Day, you're a father.
Yep. Three little girls.
Little girls.
And they just piled in on me.
Ages? What age?
About to be 7, about to be 9, and just turned 12, all summer babies. Playing that around hunting season. So June, July, and August, get those kids in here. Get those babies done. So it's good.
Where were you born?
I was born in Hattiesburg and moved back up to Clinton when I was a little bitty kid. My dad took a job down there working for a coffee company.
All right, hang on. Let me stop you right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let me frame it up real quick.
Yeah.
Ramsey Land and Drainage Services, what all you do, and then we're going to do the whole story, how we got into it.
So Ramsey Land and Drainage was just a small little business, and the whole name came about with just trying to fit everything in that I could possibly do at some point. But it started out in the drainage business, and it was by accident. And I'll tell you the story soon on that, but it's all about...
You were the French drain guy when I first met you. It was French drains, call Ramsey.
Yep, call Ramsey. And so it was by accident. It's a really cool story. And but anyway, we were just looking at water problems, and we were there to do a little project and help somebody out, a friend, making a little extra money. Decided to do a French drain. And we grew from there, and with the land and drainage, you're always having to figure out water. You know, you've got soil issues and different types of soil, and I went to soil mechanic school to learn about it, and started to get a lot of people to help me out, in that industry that was in the dirt business, because I was actually like, okay, we have some problems in the dirt side, so I wanted to ask other people to come help me. Right. So I teamed up and networked and worked with a lot of people, and we just kind of built it. But it was very, very, very small in the beginning. Yeah. And it wasn't even, a business model. We were just trying to make a little extra money and trying to fix a problem.
Awesome.
And it was by accident.
All right. So you were born in Hattiesburg, moved to Clinton. Where'd you go to high school?
So moved over to Ridgeland in 86, 87.
What part of Ridgeland?
Over off School Street.
Okay.
Yep, right over there by the Jitney, and now it's McDade's, I think. Okay. So went to 4th grade, Rosa Scott. That was back when Madison was small. It was Rosa Scott and Ann was the elementary school,
that's where I went.
And then Madison Central was the new high school. We used to have MR. So Madison was great. It was fun to live there. It was fun, small community, lots of people. I had lots of friends, but, we just didn't have a lot of money. And so we just kind of made ends meet. My grandparents were great, very influential to me. They literally poured into me as a young kid.
So you grew up with your grandparents?
Well, I grew up with my father, but my grandparents were always around, taking me and doing stuff with me and things of that nature. So in high school, I needed a job. Was doing side jobs, making extra money. Finally, I was like, that Jitney's going to open up. As soon as it opens up, I'm going to be in that door. So walked to Jitney every day. Walked there for 2 years till I get me a car, saved up the money and got that vehicle and started that process. And what I love about
What was your first car?
a Jeep, an old CJ, bad investment. Started breaking on me. So then we bought a $500 Geo Metro 4-door little car to run around for $500.
So you're single at this point.
Yeah, a little bitty kid, you know, a little over 100 pounds, trying to make it. And so we're navigating through that. And I'm at Jitney learning the bagging part of it, bag boy, courtesy clerk, from cashier to stocking shelves and then produce. And so I love being at Jitney because it taught me so much about how to work, time management, efficiency, being effective, being prompt. So high school's ending, and so now what am I going to do? Well, my grandfather was a 41-year, 28-day military guy. So he's 41 years in the military, served in the Korean War in the Army, started the Air National Guard in 1953. Him and 5 others started that base with the C-17s in 53. So with all that, I ran into a guy that I knew, and we'd done school. I was working at Jitney. I was 18, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm joining the Army." And right then, I don't know what that was. It just hit me. I was like, I am going to join the Air National Guard. I'm about to talk to my grandfather. So I called him up, and he lit up. He was so fired up. Wow. So I moved in with them. They lived in Clinton, and he started pouring into me and just teaching me all about the Air National Guard. So I went out, joined the Guard. I left for basic training, Lackland. It was hot. Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, 1996. And went to aircraft mechanic school in Wichita, Texas. And so I get back in 96, and we're just back at Jitney. Because I'm an Air National Guard guy. So I've got the GI Bill. So we're like, what are we going to do? So my great aunt was like, Heinz has got a great program. You ought to look at being a machinist. Those career fields are just, I mean, they need some machinists. And like good jobs like Milwaukee Tools and Vickers, which is now Eaton, and, you know, Packard Electric, things of that nature. So
how old are you right here?
18, 19 years old.
Okay.
So I get done with tech school. I get back in October of 96. And
where was tech school? That's the one in Wichita?
Yep, Wichita.
Okay.
Yep. And so in Texas, I'm an aircraft mechanic. So I'm learning about jet engines. I'm working on the C-141s at the time. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to join Heinz, you know, not join, but sign up for Heinz, and I'm going to be a machinist. I call my cousin, and at the time, it was very difficult to get a job at Milwaukee or Packard or any of those jobs like in the 90s. And that was a really good paying job. So I run over there and interview, and I get a job at Milwaukee Tools. I was very fortunate, and I was working on assembly line. So I went from $4, you know, $6 an hour to $7 an hour. So I'm like, got a big pay raise. So I'm living with my grandmother, going to Heinz, and doing the deal. And I noticed in Milwaukee, it was just one of the best places I could have ever started, because it was assembly line. It was a lot of older people, been there 20, 30 years. I was learning their processes. I had tons of machines that I could work on, lots of different things that I could learn about welding and machining and processes and assembly. So we built super sawzalls, and we built some of the first super sawzalls.
Really?
So, and I was on the assembly line. So I learned that process. And quickly, I got to go and start running machines. Well, there was a dry erase board where you could pick which ones you wanted to get certified on, and that's how you made money. They made me full-time, so I got a little bump in pay. So then I'm going to college, and I'm working second shift. So I'm working 1 to 9.
Plus, you're getting deals on Milwaukee Tools.
Yeah, and it was good pricing back then.
Yeah, those batteries, I shouldn't be putting it on blast, but that stuff's like $200 a battery, and y'all get them for like $10.
Well, those
the refurb.
Yeah, that's right, the refurbs, and that was the old school 90s batteries. So if you're listening, you know those 90s and early 2000 batteries are not as good as these batteries are now, but it was great. But I did get some great tools. But so we're navigating through the deal, and I'm learning so much, and I'm coming in early. I'm going to the gym in the mornings, and I'm coming in an hour or two early, talking to all the old heads, and they're teaching me about those machines.
What's the shift work look like?
So it's like 5 to 1,
Okay.
1 to 9,
Okay.
and then 9 to 5. And so I start pumping out overtime. I'm working till 10, 11 o'clock at night, 12, and then I'd come in early and learn. And so I got to certify, and within a couple of years, I was doubled my pay. So now I'm making $10,000 or $15,000 a year in overtime. Plus, I've got a nice, hourly wage in the 90s. So I was doing good. And so at that time,
living rent free.
My grandmother lived in Cascades and Clinton, and so I was living with them. And so I had an opportunity to go to Maryland on a 4-month trip in the military. Get back from my trip in April. Well, what comes back in April, the W-2 showed up at my grandmother's house. She unfolds my W-2, finds out that I'm making some good money, says, hold on just a minute, you're going to start paying rent. And you bought a couple of guns I found in your closet. I was like, yes, ma'am. So she says, let me tell you what's going on. This was 1999. And she says, we bought a lot. And I just want you to know, I took all your W-2s and all your paperwork to Regina Richardson at Trustmark, and you're qualified to buy this house. I looked at her and I was like,
Really?
I am not buying a house at 21 years old. And she goes, yes, you are. And I was like, oh, goodness. So I'm like, all right, I'm about to grow up real quick. So I decided to get some roommates in there.
Where was this at?
Cascades. Yeah. So 7.75 interest rate. We get the loan done. $777 a month. I thought that was awesome. And quickly refinanced and went through that process. But I was a nervous wreck buying a house at 21 years old. Greatest thing I ever did, though. So as that thing is progressing, I'm just working, trying to make money. And I get another opportunity to swap careers and leave Milwaukee Tools and go full-time with the Air National Guard. Mm-hmm. And I loved Milwaukee, but I caught myself just getting complacent.
Right.
I was in a factory. I didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
And it was just killing me. I wanted to be outside. And I had really taught myself out. I had great leaders, great people there that taught me a lot about processes and some really, really cool stuff that I learned there. And I was a little nervous about leaving to go work at the Air National Guard full time because I was going to take a big pay cut. There's no overtime, but I'm going to get a 7 to 4 job and every other Monday off and federal holidays and things of that nature. So went through that process. Katrina happens. Gas goes to $4 a gallon. What happens to Jason's finances? Like, man, what are we going to do? So I just started doing odd and end stuff, and I just did a few things. And I ended up acquiring a piece of property in Monticello, and I just started to learn how to turkey hunt. And I'd been deer hunting my whole life, but never turkey hunted. And they had a house up in in Ridgeland. And so I was kind of blowing the leaves and keeping up with that, going through that process. And in 2008, we had really looked in like, what am I going to do to make ends meet, because it was tough because, you didn't get
Are you married at this point?
I'm not married.
Okay.
And so everything's kind of changing, it was just, trying to figure out what I was going to do. So at that point, I did a little project for somebody, put a playground for them together. And they were like, we need a French train. So I was like, okay, let me look into that. And I called some friends. I knew a lot of people that did that stuff. Talked to an engineer buddy and did some research. And I looked at it. And my buddy John Scott, he's an awesome guy. We both have just worked together for years, growing our businesses. And he said, Jason, get 2 of my labor hands. And what we'll do is we'll just figure it out. We'll look at the whole dynamics of it, the physics behind it, and we'll knock it out. So he ended up having things to do that day. I did the drain with 2 guys. We knocked it out, and it was difficult. It was hard. It was in the reserve. The neighbors called like, that thing was blowing water out. We want you to do ours. And I was like, heck no. I'm never doing another one. And it was tough, man. And I mean, my great-grandfather told me, he's like, whatever you do in life, just do it well and do a good job. It doesn't matter if you're digging a ditch. And I remembered that. And just being in the military taught me a lot about mobilization and, getting airplanes loaded and different things of that nature. So I started thinking that, like, how am I going to get all of the stuff that I need to a job fast and quick and efficiently? So I started using the dynamics of mobilizing aircraft and getting to Afghanistan in 24 hours. However we did that with the 172nd. We were doing all these different things out there, and I was watching those processes of how we loaded airplanes. And then also in manufacturing those processes, I was like, how am I going to do this efficiently? Well, we were having mishap after mishap trying to do a French drain. So I started learning really quick and fixing those problems. So as we went through that, I had a job come up in Harrisville, Mississippi to build a retaining wall. So a buddy of mine was like, you ought to look at this Dingo. It's a little Toro. You can stand on it, get on it. It's a little kit. It comes on a trailer. It's got an auger, a trencher. It's got a leveler, a set of forks. It's little bitty. You can pull it behind your truck. And so I had a little bitty vehicle at the time.
So Ramsey Land and Drainage had not really started yet. This was just kind of,
that's right.
Do this side job.
You just do a side job, make a little extra money to pay.
Still with the National Guard.
Still with the National Guard full time. And all through that, I was going to occupational safety schools. I was an OSHA instructor. So I was traveling all the time. I was getting to go to a lot of cool states like Montana, teach courses, and I was going to the Guard Bureau some. And it was just really, really fun because I had a lot of dynamics. I was learning a lot about excavation and trenching through OSHA and excavation, and then soil mechanic school, a lot of general industry. And then in 2008, I decided to go to home inspector school because I had a passion for real estate school. I had gone to Lakeland and took the real estate course in 2001.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Took it in 2001 and loved it, but had no money. And so I was like, well, I'll just stay at Milwaukee. So through that process, I was like, I am going to figure out how to get into real estate one day. And that was my true passion. And talked to a lot of real estate investors, but never had the money to do anything. So I wanted to take the home inspector course because I was already a OSHA inspector and I inspected facilities out at the Air National Guard. I was a inspector for a lot of their facilities, all of them actually. And I had a great supervisor that was teaching me, and it was awesome. And so I had tons of people feeding into me, commanders and senior military folks that were just really pouring into me, had great mentorship. So with all that being said, I was like, how do I navigate through making some more money? And so I rented that Toro Dingo and I built that wall. And I said, on the third day, I was like, we leveled all this. We did all this work with this thing. Had to take it back to Byram and turn it back in. And I said, this thing is awesome. It's an old machine, but I love it. They said, man, we're going to sell it. So I went to the credit union and I said, I need $16,000 and it's $350 a month. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to afford this. The first month I paid for it pretty easy. Second month I had to use my military drill weekend check to pay the note on it. And so it was getting into my pocketbook and we had to figure it out. So I was doing anything I could to figure out how to make a dollar. People want to build a fence themselves. What's the hardest part is digging the holes. So I'd go dig your holes for $8 a piece. You had 44 holes. I'd drill them out in the afternoon in a couple of hours, make $350 and roll on. So I started that process and people started hearing about me. And like way before, like Susie McDowell got into real estate. Yeah. Her husband was my boss at the Air National Guard. Okay. So it's really cool how everybody's just really helped my business grow, and I've helped their businesses grow. John and Jake are great friends of mine, and we've always helped each other. And they would have a couple of jobs, and then I'd have a couple. They'd work for me for $200 a day. I'd work for them for $200 a day. We just did whatever we could to make it work in that early stage. And that was back when a lot of people just weren't spending a lot of money on homes, and you could go do a drain for $700-800 or $1,200 and fix a problem. But really what blew up was real estate agents. They got my number and they were like, they would call me in the ninth inning trying to win the game. Right. We got a closing on Friday morning. Do you think you can come put a drain in 2 days? I'm like, I got to get a locate done. I got to get utilities marked. So,
hey, but back to loading the plane.
Yep. And so I was just adapt and overcome,
So you were able to take, what I'm gathering is you're able to take all your experience, education from a combination of Milwaukee and then being in the military, and you were able to blend that into your new industry, Ramsey Land and Drainage, and basically be efficient, more efficient than your competitor, I would imagine. Because I would highly doubt anybody's got that kind of mindset, motivation, drive for the French drain industry to just hit it like that. And that's impressive.
I really wasn't looking at my competition that much, and I was really just
back to your great grandfather, do it right.
And I was just trying to figure it out, and we were making mistakes, and I just, I care about my product, and I'm an emotional guy, and a lot of people say, oh, it's all business. It's not all business. It's all business and emotional for me, because I take a lot of pride in that. So we were really trying to pour in of how to do them effectively and efficiently, and changing processes and learning that. So throughout that, I'm at the Air National Guard every day. So on my off days, I'd go do drains. Well, then it got to be where we needed people to go do drains when I'm at the guard base. So I'm having to mobilize at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning. I'm having to stage. So then I'm thinking, I got to go get a roll of pipe. So I made $1,200 or something. I'd just go spend $1,200 on more pipe.
Product, yes.
And so a lot of people weren't doing that. They would just go get the material as needed. And I had a little rental storage in Clinton before I moved back to Madison, that I would just stack rolls of pipe, and I would just go buy $2,000 worth of material, because I knew how effective and efficient that was to just get that material and run. And say I needed an 80-foot drain done, or I had 20 foot left on the roll, I would keep that scrap, and I would just go do jobs with all my leftover material.
Right.
So we were really, really increasing our margins.
That's very smart to do that on the front end whenever you're, the money's not all there on the front end. As you're making it, the majority of people are not going to put hay in the barn anyway, but to not only from a monetary perspective, you're putting hay in the barn, and that's smart, but it's the efficiency. Like if you have a laydown yard full of pipe, back to the ninth inning, realtor calls you, boom. It ain't like, hey, let me call Southern Pipe or wherever you're getting it from. It's like, hey, we're headed that way. Just we got it on the yard, and we ain't got to.
We were at that level really, really quick, and so this is like 2009, 10, and then 12. We're buying a new machine, a brand new, ordering a new machine, ordered a new trailer, and every dollar we made, that I didn't have, I reinvested everything. I never paid myself a salary until August the 1st of 2022. Now, through that process, we were just literally just taking some funds and doing some other things for me and my family, like figuring out how to write a truck off and the fuel and starting the LLC in 2012. We were just going. And one of my best friends is an attorney down on the coast, but he was the senior JAG for the state of Mississippi in the Guard. And he poured into me. He would drive up and he'd say, Jason, we're going to eat a steak. And so he would buy my steak every drill weekend, just about for 10 years. He paid for it and wouldn't hardly ever let me pay. And so he pushed me into create my name. He actually named my business, started the LLC, and he would challenge me. He's like, why haven't you done more drains? Why haven't you done this? Why aren't you getting in dirt business? So every part of this process, he kept pushing me like, you keep going. Because I was just like, hey, I'm good. I'm going to be a government employee, and we're just going to do this. But the whole time, my phone's steadily ringing. And my biggest complaint in my career is not being able to take care of everybody just because I can't. And so that bothers me more than anything else. It's kind of like Michael Jordan thinking about the 9,000 shots he missed. And that really is true for me. Through that process, we're going through just the growth of buying more machines. So I start saying, okay, we're going to buy a machine every chance I can. And I only had just a few people in my life that were helping me with this. But I thought if I buy more pieces of equipment, I can get somebody to run it, but then we can grow. And so I would buy a machine, and then I would rent it only to a couple of people I trusted. I'd make money off of that, and then I would continue through that process. obviously my good friend taught me, he's like, you need to open up an LLC with equipment rental business and rent it back out to RLDS. And that was a great strategy for me. It's great wealth building because you can buy everything through one LLC, one company, and rents back out to the other company. I learned that at a very young age in this business, and so that was very helpful for me.
Yeah.
So
Man, it's so good you had somebody that put that amount of time in just to be nice and help you. To inject like that and buy your steak.
And it was wild. It was wild. Now I buy every steak we go eat, and he's a very, very good guy, and which has taught me to give back. And I remember I couldn't afford that, and now every time I go out to eat, I love paying for people's meal because that's just me giving back. And
that's awesome.
And I'm not being boastful or bragging about that, but that's my way of giving back because he did it for me for 10 years,
Yeah.
And
wow.
Anyway, so giving back and serving others, and with this business, it just really started to change. It got expensive. Costs went up, salaries went up. Had to reinvest and buy more equipment. And every time I would buy a piece of equipment, sometimes I was a little nervous, and I had a lot of people you and I know, they would say, yeah, you need to go buy it. And I was a little nervous about it. And it was always tenfold, man. It came back. That first little bitty micro excavator, that 301, I had this envision that I could take that little machine and do something with it. I bought that machine, and it sat there for a month in my yard, and I was like, I built this model. I've got to make this happen. As soon as I put that thing out in the field, it started producing so much better quality work. It was faster. It was 5 to 6 times faster. We bought mats. Then we bought a sod cutter so we could come into your yard, cut the sod out. You couldn't even hardly tell we were there. And that little machine today, we still run it. It's running right now. And it has produced more revenue than any bulldozer or any big trackhoe I have.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's just a little bitty machine.
Right. I've seen it. I mean, it looks like you're literally coming in and doing a procedure. An incision and then leave no mark on the way out. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah. And so a lot of people in this community have seen that machine, and they've gone and bought them. And so it's progressed them to buy machines and learn that industry. It's helped them along the way. And we've taken that little machine and put it in the lakes and mats, and we've done all kind of little cool things with it. So with all that being said, it was just a lot of trials and tribulations that we went through. And with my career being in the Guard, I always thought that I was going to continue to be in the Guard for till I was in my 50s and 60s.
Right.
And so I could tell that was becoming a problem, because there were times when I was working like 60 to 80 hours, but then there was true times when I was really putting in 100, 105 hours in. And Lindley Grace is my baby. She's about to be 7. And Leanne said something to me. She's like, Jason, I don't know that Lindley really knows you like the other two do. And that stung, and it bothered me, and I started really trying to pour into spending more time with her. The whole time that I was doing all this, I was spending as much time as I could with Ava, and Ava was born in 2016, and so they were always jumping in the truck, and they were riding with me when I was going places. And so through that process, I'm constantly going through inspections in the military and traveling and doing lots of things. And so we moved back out here to Lake Lorman area, and we're growing, and things are just going well. And through that, I'm having to deal with hiring and firing people. And so that was probably one of the biggest challenges, And so I always thought, I'll just wrap myself around some equipment and just get who I can that's the right fit for the team. And I learned a lot of things. I made a lot of mistakes, lots of mistakes, and did a lot of things right. But we just tried to learn from it. Back to my career in the military, it was really weighing on me because I couldn't give the Air National Guard 100%. How am I going to give the Air National Guard 100% and Ramsey Land and Drainage? and both of them were suffering. And then the kids and Leanne are not getting as much time. So we're struggling. So
when is this, or when is that kind of?
It's probably going around 19 and 20. We're getting into COVID. And so we got to buy a brand new work truck, and we just bought a excavator and another skid, and things are just progressing. And I'm having to move all of my business from Lake Lorman, where I was staging everything to get it out of the HOA, because they weren't going, they weren't too happy. Moved over there by you, off distribution. And so every time I would have a situation, I would think, man, how am I going to get through this? And we made it happen, and we grew just amazingly. I mean, we were growing, Paul, 30 to 33%, like 5 or 6 years in a row. So it was tough to grow 33, 32, or 31% of gross revenue every year when it was supposed to be a part-time job.
Oh, yeah.
And then I have multiple LLCs. Then I'm trying to travel, and I'm trying to have a family.
At some point, you get into the RVO, what can I say? RVO, VRBO. Goodness. So, I mean, didn't stop there. I mean, you got into you bought the building across from me. You bought rental property. So it's like
Yeah. So, well, before I do the Airbnb stuff, I had retired at that point. So it's a come to Jesus thing. It's like, all right, something's got to give. And so at the Air National Guard base, I had a nice office, and they were going to put us in cubicles. The government had changed everything to cubicles, and I wasn't really happy about that. And I was losing my office, and so I boxed everything up, and I slid it under my cubicle. It was my personal stuff, plaques and, diploma type stuff, certificates and awards. And about a year in, I go to see the chaplain about all this, and we're just friends, because he was right next door to my office. And we go to lunch, and we're chatting about things, and he's like, you need to pray about it. And everything just kind of, stars kept lining up. And so I was like, man, I've got to make a decision. And I said, okay, I'm going to wait till everybody leaves at 4:30, because I didn't want anybody to see me take that box out to my truck, because I didn't want them thinking anything like, what's he getting ready to do? So I boxed up my stuff, and I went to my truck, and I set it in the back seat. And this is the craziest thing. I felt 10,000 pounds off my back, and my eyes watered up.
Golly.
And I said, my career is done.
Wow.
And I had chill bumps, man, and I was like, now how am I going to do this? Well, I couldn't do it. So it took me months and months. So COVID's gone on, and lots have changed, and we
what year was that?
It was 21.
Okay.
In the military. So I decided to retire. So I was going to retire in August, and I made the announcement. So we're going to retire in August, and my boss had poured into me, and he had done so much for my military career. He's a great guy, but he was one of that harsh, old grumpy kind of guy. And so he didn't give pay raises, and he didn't give awards. He didn't give me bumps or any of that stuff. And I got to back up and tell you a story real quick. Is I left the Guard Bureau, and we were trying to get him a pay raise, his position. And so we were advocating for that. And we had been doing this for 2 or 3 years. And I looked at him, and I said, Bobby, if we get you that GS-12 position, I'm going to get myself bumped to 11. And his head snapped over at me and said, and he never really acted like this. He says, as long as I'm here, you're going to stay a 9. And that hurt. And I remember your podcast. I was like, that's the wrong thing to say to me. And that was the exact time when I was blowing those leaves and starting my business. And I was like, all right. So I bit down on that mouthpiece. And we got a joke, me and Paul do, about the mouthpiece.
We do. But when times get tough.
And so
put the mouthpiece in.
Man, those trials and tribulations, that hurt when he said that.
But you needed that unknowingly, probably. I mean, it spurred you to.
I was thinking, what is the government? I mean, they've got the money to support me to get a raise, but he didn't say that. And so I was like, okay. So I knew it was on me to do what I needed to do. And, but being, Milwaukee corporate type job to a government type job, I had this security blanket, and the whole time I'm putting money in that 401k, and so, I mean, I'd put 11%, then I'd go to 12, and then I was just anything I could, and I could barely make it, and I'd get a little cost of living increase, 50 cents, and I'd just add another percent. And so I was trying to get myself to have a diverse, way of living for other incomes and strategies and, save for the future. So with all that being said, it just compounded. So when you go from doing those little drains and just putting all your money back into it, I just woke up one day and didn't even realize it. I had assets, because somebody's like, you need to fill out a PFS. And I was like, what is a PFS? And so I just had my head down.
Yes.
And so I was so focused on getting Paul's drain done, making sure he was happy and moving to the next one. And I was always late.
You didn't have time to go buy ski boats.
No, I never bought any Can-Am or any kind of stuff like that until I was in my 40s. And I never bought anything for myself. I did make
Where did that financial discipline come from? Just the military, or did you have...
growing up without, and then making $4 an hour and seeing what it took me to make $80 for the whole week.
That nut became very valuable, and you wanted to protect it.
And then when I had money and I was doing well, and then when I left Milwaukee and was at the Guard on a strict salary, and I was going to lose it all if I didn't hustle, that scared me.
Right.
And put some fire in me. And I said, if I'll ever get myself out of this hole, I'm not coming back. And so I am so thankful for that financial roller coaster, because it grew me, and that was intentional, I mean, that was God's plan.
Right.
Maybe not his intentional plan, but I mean, we got through it through a lot of prayer and a lot of hard work, but we just kept pouring back in. And then you've got, something would happen. So I've got to go fix a French drain. So I'd have to go honor that and fix that. So a lot of times
you're saying like callback type.
Callback stuff. And so, I mean, things like that happen. And so we really honed in, and we've had seasons where things just go great, and, but then you get new hires and they come in and they got to learn the process. And like one time we didn't have our fabric ounce, was a 8 ounce, and we were supposed to use a 4 ounce for our French drain. And we put in 12 French drains with 8 ounce. I mean, this was thousands of dollars that I had to go back and fix that. And nobody knows this, but I honored it, and I fixed it and made it right. Cost us a lot. And,
that is something I'll say. I mean, obviously I've used you on projects where, development type stuff or real estate, whatever. And that's one thing that sticks out to me with you, is that you truly do, for lack of a better term, pet the client to like, I want you to tell me that you're I'm not going anywhere until you tell me you're satisfied.
Yeah, I try.
And that goes a long way, because especially in the construction industry, people, get a check and they're gone. Yeah. And man, that's how residual work shows up. Right. It's like, hey, Ramsey may not be the cheapest, but he's going to do it right. And he's going to follow through. And if something comes up, he's going to own up to it or and whatever figure it out.
Yep.
And man, that goes way far and above.
We try. And I mean, I know I've let a lot of people down, but we try our hardest to try to get that done, because you want to run into people and be happy and not have that feeling of like, I let
there he is.
Yeah. And, I got some clients that didn't pay me, and I love seeing them at the store, but no, I shouldn't have said that.
You buy their steak too?
Yeah, I buy them a steak, yeah. But,
that's a part of it though. I mean, as far as trials and tribulations, so like in real estate, thankfully I don't have to wade through that. But when I think about if I was to start some other business, service-based industry or something, where I did the job and then I waited for somebody to pay it. I mean, I hear the horror stories all the time, because like my plumber that works on all my rental houses, he's like, every time I have something come up, he goes and does it instantly because I will pay him instantly. And he's like, Paul, you don't understand how many people do not pay me, and I have to thump them in the head. So that's got to be when you're buying equipment, you got a bank loan, you got this and that, overhead salaries.
Your capital's going up and down. It looks like a stock market.
Right. Yeah. And you're buying product and this and that. And then you're waiting on, I mean, that can be a very, and to keep your, I mean, for me, it would be tough to like, hey, you owe me money. And for something I've done.
Yeah. Yeah. And the rain's a factor and equipment and stuff. And, you know, like I want to mention this one guy, Brian Easley. He's a mechanic for Puckett Rents. And he was fixing my equipment from day one. And if I wouldn't have had Brian Easley, I would have bled out the first year. Ooh. He was the most critical part because think about it. I want to go do your drain on Friday or Saturday, and it broke on Saturday. I got to get somebody over there. He's off. He would come fix my machine when he was off. And so that could have been a make or break deal to go run out of business. And so I've even told Mr. Puckett and Hastings and Rob Puckett both, it's like the most critical person in my life was Brian Easley, you know. And so there's been so many people that have influenced me through my career and have sent us so much business. We're so thankful for that, you know. Right. But we give back to them and we help them. We serve those individuals when we can. But, you know, back to the Air Guard, I had to figure out what I was going to do, you know, like if I was going to stay there or not. And I had talked to Sam Cox, he's a dear friend of mine. And I said, Sam, I need a building. And he found this building on Distribution Drive, and it's right across the street.
Oh, yeah. I made an offer on the same building. I know exactly what you're talking about.
From your office. And I'm sitting there with Brian Burke, Ashley Burke's husband, and he was my boss at the time. And Brian's a great guy, and he was a very great friend and very influential in my life. And he said, Jason, man, you're going to get this building. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. I said, man, I don't know what to bid on it. I don't know what to do. And he said, you'll get it. You need to put in this clause. And I'm on my phone and I'm researching, and I run out of the office and I'm like, Sam, we're going to put this clause, and he's a commercial real estate guy. So we put that in the contract, and we kept that tight to our chest.
Right.
And
basically acceleration clause to where you put in a bid. If somebody bids higher, you get the option to go up and match it or go above.
And I think there was like 7 of you guys, Bear Creek maybe, and J.D. Johnson.
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people, and we were so blessed to get that building, and it was perfect for me. And every time we took that lump of faith, you know, and just jumping, you know, and it was a lot. I mean, we got that building and got a great.
It's perfect for you.
It's perfect for me, and it's the ugly duckling of Gluckstadt. We're gonna keep it that way. We'll paint it one day, but we're just grinding, trying to fix people's problems. But anyway, it was great. And so we had the building, and I'm still at the guard base full time as a technician. And finally, it just came to a head, and I prayed about it. And unfortunate situation, we had a great guy that had taken the position of my boss. And he had gotten really sick after the COVID vaccine. And I was in there running the Air National Guard safety program. So I'm having to go to Hattiesburg a little bit, going to the coast. And there's 1,400 people in the Guard, plus or minus. And there's a lot of facilities. And it was a death spiral for me. And the command just weren't bringing anybody in to help me, and it was bearing on me, wife and kids.
On both, yes.
And I walked in my boss's office, Brian, and I was like, Brian, you gonna give me any help? He's like, I can't, man. He says, it's just all on you. Chills on my body. I looked down, and when I looked up, he went white. He knew it. I said, brother, I love you.
Yeah.
But I'm out.
Yeah.
And he just, I understand. So jumped in full time and started growing the dirt side of the business, and started fixing a lot of problems, you know, that I saw that were needed. And I had subcontractors that were working for me that helped me along the way. But HOAs and small little developments and little neighborhoods were calling, like pond levee issues and roads, and did some house pads. So we really tried to dial in to be more detailed, you know.
Duck holes.
Yep, a few duck holes. Yep, for some friends. Yep, yeah. So
the thing that sticks out to me too is, and we talk about this a lot, is the vulnerability aspect, and like not knowing a certain whatever. Say it's a duck hole. You know, I mean, at some point you had to learn how to do a duck hole.
That's right.
And so I like how you just call people that know what they're doing and like, hey, I don't know how to do this. Tell me, help me out.
Yeah.
And I want to hear your side of like whenever you open up to somebody and you show that, hey, I'm willing to learn, I want to learn, but I don't know. Like I don't know it all. What's been your experience with their take on that? Do they just lean into that and
They do. A lot of people want to pick your brain. They want to know all your information. They want to know all your secrets. So you got to hold a lot of stuff tight to your chest.
Right. That's a double-edged.
And so I've done a lot of good and bad with that. I've helped a lot of people grow their business, and it wasn't intentionally. I didn't know what they were, they were fishing, and I took the bait, and I don't mind helping people and growing people. I grow a lot of other small businesses because it takes a village, man. You got concrete guys. I got lots of concrete guys. I got a lot of different contractors that can do different things, and we all serve and help each other. Jeff Cox owns Birdsong, and he has been a friend for a long time, and he's always been a good sounding board for me. So if I get into something, I think I need some help, he'll advise me, and I've got to work at his house doing dirt work and drainage at his own house. How cool is that?
Wow.
So, I mean, he told me, he said, Jason, things are going great in this county, in this state with Amazon and all these things going on, all this construction. He was going to bring other people in, and so he's offered situations and jobs for me that he thought would be a right fit for me. And not every job's going to be right for me because I'm still a small company with a small team. So, and we want to stay small, but we want to have the right people and the right subs and the right folks on our team to try to serve the people that we can, Yeah. So, but I really want to give back to the younger generation, that was going to
lead perfect into my question was going to be, what advice would you give the 18-year-old Jason Ramsey at Jitney Jungle as he's bagging? What would you give that? What kind of insight would you give? Like what, or pothole? Like, hey, there's potholes that you could help somebody avoid. Is it the work ethic? I mean, what's been the main takeaways for you that led to success? The
core values of the Air Force is integrity first and service before self, and excellence in all you do. So, when you're and you getting your head shaved and you're putting on a uniform and you're out there marching in 100-degree temperature, you start to learn the core values in the 90s for me. And so that's ingrained in you. And then that's also your upbringing by your parents or grandparents. So just who your core values are, and what makes you as a person is going to drive how successful you are. But what I would challenge everybody to do is serve others and give back and to continue to lead. Do the right thing, and if something goes wrong, fix it and make it happen. Way before that make it happen deal was getting popular years ago on Facebook, I used to post a lot of stuff, and I always post hashtag making it happen, and that's on the back of our shirt. And it's like, if you can't make it happen, you're going to take my shirt off because we're going to figure it out, and we're going to adapt and overcome. And there's a lot of things that I didn't do well with, and we failed at, but we tried until we figured it out. And so I also challenge people to surround themselves with good mentors and a good village of folks that can support them and just, figure it out. You got to have those people in your life. You got to have a good sounding board, to talk through stuff.
Right. Because,
there's been a lot of times where I had to call somebody. I was like, man, I don't know what to do about this, but and we got it done. Right. They all got fixed,
Yeah.
And so a lot of water intrusion, water coming in houses and bedrooms, and people were stressed by water. A lot of stress that you get where people are like they just bought a house and then water came in the front door, or it weeped into the weep holes because the weep holes are set too low, or the landscaping's too high. So being an inspector in the military and understanding all those aspects of grades and elevations, I can look at trim and see how things are supposed to be done. My dad was a carpenter, so I understand the construction background of like how things should be. And so the attention to detail
Right.
And then just being a sponge.
And being cognizant of somebody, to your point, I mean, the way water makes people feel, because I've seen it on the water damage when I was in that, and we were doing homeowner insurance claims. Well, a lot of people don't realize this, but if water intrudes from the outside of the house, it's not covered on your homeowner's insurance. You have to have a flood policy.
And it is so expensive to get a team of guys over there to dig it out, waterproof that area, and, like sealing weep holes. That's a question. Are you not supposed to seal weep holes? Well, you got to seal it to keep the water out, and so it's a double-edged sword. And so, like, I did a house pad for a real sweet lady at Lake Woman. And, when you trench for the gas line and you trench for all the utilities and all that, nobody compacts that back to the same level that it was with a compactor when that was built. Mm-hmm. So water gets trapped in there. Well, people don't think about that. Well, I found that over the years of fixing builders' problems, when builders will call me and like, we cannot fix this. It has gotten under this slab and it's coming into a drop footing and coming in the garage. And we've had to dig under houses 4 foot deep. We're doing one now, 6.5, 7 foot deep, and it's got 4 lift stations all the way around the house because it has fatty clay all in the foundation. It's a 6-7 year old house, and it's unfortunate. I mean, you're talking a 1.5-month project with 4 lift stations, and it's stressful, for people. But one good thing I try to do is tell my crew and the people that are on our team is like, typically a home is their most important and most expensive asset that they have, and they want it fixed. And there's water standing on their patio or at their front door. People can't even get out of their car to go to the front door because they're standing in water and need rubber boots. So it's been a struggle getting them all fixed, but and we haven't, but it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, y'all are doing an excellent job.
We're trying.
And leading the industry in that regard. So, man, that's a really good story.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on. Anything else you want to talk about?
Man, I think I piled it in there pretty good, didn't I?
You did. You did a very good job.
Yeah, that was kind of an impromptu deal. Thank y'all for having me.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah. Thank you for all your service in the military.
Yeah, 25 years.
Congratulations on all the success of Ramsey Land and Drainage, and looking forward to the future with it.
I appreciate it. Hey, man, thanks a lot, Paul. I appreciate your friendship. And one more thing, this podcast has been awesome. I love listening to it. And I'm getting a lot out of it. I love hearing their stories, and I think about little things that, they might have gone through in their life that's inspired me as well.
That's right. Awesome.